The air was thick with tension as Hua Yong wandered through the familiar corridors of X Holding, his body trembling with a sensation he could no longer control. The rut had begun. Every heartbeat, every breath seemed amplified, a constant reminder of the hunger building inside him. His Omega instincts screamed, his senses sharpened, and every movement around him felt magnified. He was restless, consumed by something primal, something he had always known but never fully understood until now. Each step he took seemed to echo in the empty hallways, and yet, despite the chaos raging inside him, he remained focused, aware of one thing above all: Sheng Shao Yu. Sheng Shao Yu had come to X Holding for business, confident, composed, a figure of power and grace that few dared challenge. An S-class alpha, his reputation preceded him, and his presence commanded respect. Yet, even someone like Sheng Shao Yu could not escape the invisible pull of fate, and he had no idea how close danger lurked, or how the universe seemed to conspire against him in the quiet of the night. The scent reached Hua Yong before he even saw him, the unmistakable aroma of his lover, the man he had cherished from afar for more than a decade. It was intoxicating, overwhelming, and it struck Hua Yong like a bolt of lightning, making his pulse hammer in his ears. Chains, cold and unforgiving, held Hua Yong in place. The Enigma protocols were strict. An Omega in rut must be restrained, must be prevented from causing harm in the chaos of instinct. Yet, no chain could contain the storm raging inside him. The moment he caught Sheng Shao Yu's scent, his Omega nature surged beyond all reason. The world around him faded, leaving only that scent, that presence, that need. His muscles coiled with power, his mind blurred with urgency, and the chains that bound him shattered under the force of his desire. It was as though the universe itself had acknowledged his longing, and nothing could stand in his way. In that instant, Hua Yong moved like a force of nature, driven by a need he could no longer suppress. Every step toward Sheng Shao Yu felt electric, every breath stolen between them, charged with unspoken truths. The alpha stood frozen, sensing danger too late, yet unable to fully understand the overwhelming pull that pressed down upon him. Hua Yong reached him, and in the blink of an eye, their worlds collided, hearts pounding in a rhythm that neither had prepared for. The intensity of the moment was breathtaking, raw, and consuming. Sheng Shao Yu, despite his S-class alpha strength, felt his resolve falter. Hua Yong's presence, the pheromones, the unrelenting gaze, weakened him in ways he could not articulate. It was disorienting, destabilizing, and a feeling he had never encountered. Pride and ego, the very pillars of his identity, began to crumble under the weight of overwhelming sensation. He could fight, he could resist, yet every fiber of his being whispered surrender. The sensation was unlike anything he had experienced. Powerlessness was foreign, and yet undeniable. That night, the Alpha realized the fragility of even the strongest armor, and the vulnerability of the heart when confronted with relentless love, intertwined with uncontrollable instinct. Hua Yong's love was fierce, consuming, and unrelenting. It had grown quietly, patiently, for 10 long years, nurtured in the shadows of longing and desire, and now in the fullness of his rut, it manifested in a torrent of need and obsession. Every glance, every breath, every heartbeat he directed toward Sheng Shao Yu was saturated with emotion, with love, with an intensity that defied reason. In that moment, there was no past, no restraint, no consequence, only the fire between them, burning bright, impossible to ignore. From Sheng Shao Yu's perspective, it was a night of humiliation, confusion, and pain. The Alpha, who had always been in control, felt his pride erode, his ego battered by a force he could not comprehend. How could someone so seemingly gentle, so familiar, reduce him to this? His mind raced, trying to understand, to reclaim control, yet the answers eluded him. The man who had entered his life, disguised as the humble, devoted Omega he had come to trust, was now the architect of his deepest turmoil. Betrayal, even unintentional, cut deeper than any blade. His thoughts oscillated between shock, fury, and a longing for retribution that seemed both immediate and impossible to fulfill. And yet, in the darkness of that night, clarity was a luxury neither of them could afford. Hua Yong's intentions, pure though overwhelming, collided with Sheng Shao Yu's sense of self, leaving a wake of emotional chaos. The Alpha wrestled with a cocktail of emotions: rage at being overpowered, sorrow for the vulnerability exposed, and disbelief at the realization that the Omega he loved had been the one to shatter his composure. It was a paradox of the heart, a cruel irony that left him questioning everything he thought he knew about love, trust, and desire. Hua Yong, too, was trapped in a storm of conflicting feelings. He loved Sheng Shao Yu with every fiber of his being, yet the nature of his rut forced him into actions that defied his reason. The chains had been broken, but the consequences were now unavoidable. The Omega's heart raced with fear, anticipation, and an aching longing that had nothing to do with restraint and everything to do with the depth of his emotions. Every movement was guided by instinct, by passion, by a need that transcended logic. Hua Yong's love, though powerful and true, now bore the weight of unintended pain. As dawn approached, the chaos of the night left its mark on both of them. Sheng Shao Yu, pride wounded and ego shattered, grappled with a thirst for revenge he could neither act upon nor fully understand. Questions spiraled in his mind like storm clouds, heavy and unrelenting. Who had done this to him? How could someone so dear bring such devastation? And, most importantly, could he ever forgive or even comprehend the truth behind the pain? The answers seemed forever out of reach, obscured by shadows of uncertainty and desire. Meanwhile, Hua Yong wrestled with guilt, confusion, and an unshakable devotion. He had acted out of love, yes, but the repercussions weighed heavily on him. The Omega knew that what he had done would haunt Sheng Shao Yu, that the Alpha would struggle with betrayal and anguish, and yet he could not deny the intensity of his feelings, the depth of his need, or the unbreakable bond that tied them together. In his heart, love and chaos were inseparable, two sides of the same coin, spinning endlessly in a world that refused to offer reprieve.